in your business interest on IBR 92.5 FM.
You're right to know.
It's midday. Good afternoon. Here's the world news at a glance on Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM. First, the headlines. Shehu Sani tells Northern elders to allow Buhari complete his tenure. Supreme Court affirms 6-year jail term for ex-pension director Yakubu. Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria says politicians against the zoning do not mean well for Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, 16 killed in Indonesia's road crash. Now the news in detail. I am Toluwaleke Ali. A former lawmaker, Shehu Sani, has voiced out his opinion that President Muhammadu Buhari should be allowed to finish his tenure. This is in response to the Northern Elders Forum's position that the president should resign over his handling of Nigeria's security situation. The forum had asked Buhari to resign for being unable to secure the country's security. Reacting to the forum's demand, Sani, who represented Kaduna Central in the 8th Senate, asked the forum to let Buhari complete his tenure so that elections will be held in 2023. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has upheld the 2018 decision of the Court of Appeal, which sentenced a former Federal Director of Pensions, John Yakubu, to 6 years imprisonment. The Apex Court also ordered him to refund 22.9 billion naira to the federal government. It will be recalled that Yakubu was imprisoned in 2018 by the Abuja Court of Appeal for defrauding the federal government of 22.9 billion naira police pension fund. Details later in our subsequent bulletin. The Christian Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria has described politicians who are against zoning as those who do not mean well for the country. This is just as it warned that the 2023 general election is under threat. The Christian body gave the warning in a statement signed by its Enugu state leader, Godwin Madu. Madu said that for the country not to be plunged into chaos, there's need for zoning agreement in the country and in the various states to be respected. He lamented that many roads in the country are now inaccessible owing to the activities of bandits, with several communities displaced by bandits and terrorists. He also enjoined Christians to ensure that they get their permanent voters card, PVC. Away from that, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has called on the federal government to focus on its sustainable development goals in isolation of children's rights. This is as the organization lamented that 70% of children in schools across Nigeria are not learning. Speaking in Kano on sustainable development goals as child rights, UNICEF's communication specialist Geoffrey Njoku harped on the need to give attention to foundational literacy and numeracy. According to him, sustainable development goals will remain a mirage until the rights of children are fulfilled. Njoku maintained that poverty and gender inequality must be bridged as the essential ingredients to the denial of children's rights.
If we don't focus on children's rights, we are very, very, very unlikely to meet the SDGs come 2030. And then we are drilling down to education, foundational learning, and literacy and numeracy. The point we are trying to make is that children are not learning. Before we were talking about, even today, we talk about 10.5 million Nigerian children not being in school. But now the big issue is that those who are actually in school are not learning. 70% of them are not learning. 70% do not know what they should know at the age of 10. So we're trying to call attention on that fact that it's going to be double jeopardy for us, that we have a huge number of children who are not in school, and at the same time, those who are in school are not learning. The learning outcomes are extremely very poor.
Because education will help the child to develop his or her full potentials and also empower the child with a lot of opportunities to cope with the future. Situation on ground now, that means that our children will not be employable because they didn't receive the quality of education that will make them relevant to the needs of the society. And when they cannot get employment, that means they will be rendered poor. And if they become poor, you know what that implies. There will be an increase in crime wave in the society. There will be increase in crime wave, and a lot of other children will be denied that opportunity. There will be intergenerational poverty because now these people cannot train their children. And because they cannot train their children, the children will also become poor because they don't have a job due to their own lack of education.
On the front, there are growing signs that Russia could be on the brink of fully capturing Mariupol, the besieged southern port city, which has suffered a devastating 6-week assault. This is despite the fact that Ukraine's armed forces say they are sustaining its defense and are in continuous contact with their troops on the ground. It will be recalled that Ukrainian troops have said that they are running out of ammunition. Still on the foreign scene, more than 16 people have been killed, with more than a dozen others injured when a truck descending a remote mountain in Indonesia's West Papua province crashed into a cliff. The truck, carrying 28 passengers and the driver, was heading down a road in the Arfak Mountains when the driver lost control and crashed. The deputy head of West Papua's traffic unit, Andre Manuputi, said that some of the injured are in critical condition. He also added that the road is particularly dangerous due to its steepness and the absence of proper lighting. To end the news, another look at the major items. Sheikh Usani tells Northern elders to allow Buhari complete his tenure. Supreme Court affirms 6-year jail term for ex-pension director Yakubu. Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria says politicians against zoning do not mean well for Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, 16 killed in Indonesia's road crash. For comments, breaking news, happenings around your area and suggestions, send your report to newsroom at Ibr92.5FM.com or call 0908 485 8385. Like us on Facebook and on Twitter at IBR925FM Ibadan, or stream us live on www.ibr925fm.com. The news was produced and edited by Feromi Akinbote. I am Toluwalike Ali. Good afternoon and thanks for listening.
For the very best in qualitative and informative